Okay, my name is George Harold Wilson. I was born on the March the 1st, 1918 in Sheffield, Yorkshire, England. And there it is. So you see, it's not just a little village. It's quite a sizable town. Now this particular picture was taken up on a hillside, as you can see, looking out toward the part of England, or part of Sheffield, I should say, where we lived, out in that area.
What year did you take this?
Pardon?
What year did you take this picture?
This was taken, I can't remember, it was the first or the second trip. Do you remember? I think it was the first trip.
Either 1975 or 1989.
Yeah.
Up on the Burnview cemeteries up on that hill, wasn't it?
Burnview Cemetery is way back.
Oh, okay. Then it's probably the first trip.
This is behind the railroad station.
1975 then.
Okay. All right. Now, I was born at a hospital called Jessop's Hospital, and that's it. There's quite a story about my birth there in that building. Mother, do you remember what it is? Would you like to tell them about it?
Well, he lost a brother and a sister when they were just being born because his mother wasn't big enough to have birth, and so she went to the hospital early, and it was past due, but there wasn't anyone who knew how to do cesarean section until March the 1st. They changed the hands of the doctor who was on, and he knew how. And as soon as he came in that hospital, he says, "Get her in there right now." And so they thought it was cesarean. And so she was in there for, was it 5 weeks or something? 6 weeks?
I think we were 6.
6 weeks or something altogether, before and after. So he was a miracle child, actually. Very few people knew how to do that normal operation.
Okay. On our first trip there, we went to church at the Sheffield First Ward. Oops, wrong one. And we met this lady right here, Sister Mann. She said that she was 12 years old when she attended my first birthday party. Went to see her again the second time we went over in '89, but she had passed away. So we just got to see her there before she did. Hello.
Are you going to tell about, she was your babysitter, and your folks lived not very developed, it was like a couple blocks from the church, and she did a little babysitting, and she'd run over to their house and get things, and she's a little girl. Well,
Did she recognize you when she saw you?
Pardon?
Did she recognize you when she saw you? Or did
No.
you tell her who you were?
You changed.
I've changed a little bit since I was 1 year old.
I mean, you know, when you said I'm George.
Oh, she knew who we are. That's when I
Did
told
you have to
her.
explain to her anything?
I
She
just
says,
told her
oh,
who.
she was so
No, she
cute.
told us.
She was so
who-
happy
oh,
seeing you.
okay.
It just tickled me to see you.
One of the pictures I wanted to take more than anything else when we first went over there was the old church. It was made out of corrugated iron.
Oh.
And they used to call it the Tin Tabernacle.
Oh,
But it had been torn down, long gone. I met another fellow the second trip over there, was talking about the Tin Tabernacle. And he said his father used to go there and throw stones up on the roof and let them roll off and disturb the meetings.
oh no.
He wasn't a member, right?
That's good. Well, you can tell that your mother belonged to that Presbyterian church, and when she joined the Mormon church, they were selling it, and so she never did move from the church. She arranged for the transaction for the Mormon church to buy the Presbyterian church, and that's, you kids have a picture there in the books. Church.
One thing that Sister Mann did do, she took us to where we used to live on Buckingham Road. The houses are gone, But she said, we used to live just about where that light pole is. As you see, it's
On a
quite
hill.
a hill there.
That's
And
what this hill goes
this is all being cleared out. You see the new apartments going back in there. But just to the right of us here, there happen to be some of the old houses still there. So we went over and I took a picture of it. They're what they call row houses. We lived in one of those. And there'd be another row of them across the street, just the same way. And of course, when I was born, it was still World War I was going on. And one night they had a raid of Zeppelin, dropped bombs on England, on Sheffield. There's two rivers in Sheffield, and they got the wrong river. They were trying to find the one where all the steelworks were, because Sheffield is the Pittsburgh of England. But they got the wrong river, and they got over into the town area. Now that was the front side of the house, and there's what the backyard looks like.
That wasn't the same house as where you did when you were a little kid, though, is it? That's where they lived later.
No, this house, like this house, right?
It was this house where they lived later, wasn't
You
that
lived in
right?
this one?
Huh?
They did live in this house. You folks lived in this house.
Not this particular one, but one like it.
I thought it was this one.
No, the one we were torn down there in that house where all the houses were gone.
Not when you were born, I mean, but later, before they moved. It's Peter Street or
Now,
something.
when that air raid happened with the Zeppelins, my folks were on holiday. They don't have vacations in England; they have holidays. And they went to Blackpool, and that's the famous Blackpool Tower. Now, this was summer, and look how cold it is there. I was freezing to death out there in that wind. This used to be a lively place. Back in, when I was over there in 1937, right after I got out of high school, this was really a lively place. But now it's kind of run down like Coney Island almost. We stayed there about a half an hour and got out.
Can I say something about that last thing, when they hit the wrong river? This lady told us that they'd have got that river where the steel was, that would have been in the war. That was, they all love American Community Stadium, because they were just about to go in.
Now the building we used the most in Sheffield when we were over there on both of our trips. Whoops! Everybody stand on your head.
Turn the camera upside down.
Use this the most.
This is the railway station.
Okay.
You can flip it over, guys.
Yeah, we can wait a second if you want to flip it.
Now here's something kind of interesting in Sheffield. This is what they call the hole in the road.
Interesting.
It's a roundabout where they can turn off to different streets, and down below you can see the people down there, and they have stores down there. It's an underground passageway. If you want to go from one corner to the other rather than fight all the traffic, just go down below and walk across.
How do you get in the hole?
Yeah, that stairway's at least 4 corners probably, you can go down.
Yeah.
Just right here, or is it farther?
And this is what's from the hole in the road looking out.
Wow.
All underneath where it's dark there, there's passageways, one to each corner of the intersection there. And stairways up to the street.
Just have one like this?
Yeah. It's just the only one. Then I took a picture of some of the natives out shopping.
Favorite lady.
Pretty lady in a yellow shirt.
Blend in, mother.
Now, if we were to go, the street goes down to the right. You see, going kind of down the hill to the right. If you go down that hill, you'd come to the market, the farmer's market, where your mother has some experiences that she doesn't care to. She doesn't have the warm spot in her heart that I do for England.
Come on, mother, we gotta have the banana story.
Well, it's great big market, several stores high and huge, and everybody does all their shopping there. They have booths all over, and everybody's lined up at these booths to get what you want, fresh produce. So I wanted some lunch, and it was about when I was into raw foods and fresh vegetables and fruits. It was in the 70s, early 70s. So I looked over on that one place and I saw these lovely bananas. That's what I'll have for lunch. So I got in the line, finally got there, and I picked up the banana. The lady was slapping me. Put that back! And everybody's like, oh, let the woman know any better than that. She said, these are the ones that are for sale, and she pulled out some black ones underneath. I said,
Those are display only.
And when,
Is that your bag of black bananas right there?
when you go to the market, you have to take your own bag with you, otherwise you carry the things in your hand. There's no such thing as a bag.
we looked all over the place for a supermarket. We finally found one.
But you can see that this is a fairly good sized city. Now I'm not sure about this, but I think this is the street where I almost lost my life the first time I was over there in 1937. I was out the first day that we were in England, the first day we were in Sheffield anyhow, and I was walking up the street and I saw a store across the street. It looked interesting. So I thought, well, I'll just go over there and take a look. I stepped off the curb, there was no cars coming. I stepped off the curb and then I remembered I'd looked the wrong way.
Whoops.
And I jumped back on the curb and just that quick a double-decker bus went by.
Woo!
That's right.
I almost had it. And then we used to do a lot of riding on the bus, and I always used to dash for upstairs. I loved to ride in the front seat upstairs of the bus. And this is going down one of the streets. This is not the downtown area. This is the small areas that keep running into, like they do in Mesa, you know. You run into a little shopping area. And the interesting thing about their shops there, whatever it is, that's it. If it's a meat market, that's all you get is meat. Now this is Stockton-on-Tees. This is where my father was born. Now, my father was born in Stockton, which is right on the Tees River. If he had been on the other side of the river, he would have been in Yorkshire. Otherwise, he's the only person of all the names on that pedigree chart that was not born in Yorkshire, England. So we don't have people from here and people from there. They're all from Yorkshire.
You know something about that. I found out that up until a certain year, and I don't know which one, that the records were in Yorkshire, in Durham, in Durham. The records on the Durham side were in Yorkshire, or the records in Yorkshire were in Durham for a period of time, up until a certain year. So if you ever do the research there, remember that.
Still checking out.
Now this is the back of that house. Cobblestone alleys. And there's the current residence. You know how we're swamped with Mexican Americans over here? They're swamped with East Indians. Pakistan and India. Almost all the cab drivers are East Indians. But that's the actual house where my father was born. If we had the address on his birth certificate, and we found the street, found the house number, so that's the actual house.
One on the right with the door open.
Where the little girl is, yeah. Now this is the church where, let's see, my mother and father were married in this particular church right here.
Presbyterian?
It's a Presbyterian rites, but it was in a Methodist church. Not much of a church, is it?
Hardly the steeples are. There's some people in downtown areas and they don't, not either, they'll sell the building, you know, they don't have the space to.
Now number 5 on that chart, that Anatophel number 5, is Mary Ann Raystrick, right? And that's my grandmother. And she was born in a place called Kirkstall, which is a kind of a suburb of Leeds. And this is the Kirkstall Parish Church.
St. Stephen's is the name.
We went looking around in the gravestones, and we hit a gold mine in this one here. Those 3 headstones, the first 3 to the left there, are all, every person on there is one of our records.
Oh, wow.
And in your book there, you have pictures of those gravestones that you can read. Here's one of them. Can you make out anything on that one? That's a little harder to
Oh,
tell.
it's backwards.
It's backwards.
Was it?
That's Joseph Raystrick.
It's backwards.
Oh
Well,
dear.
actually, it's
Wife of Joseph.
Oh, wife of Joseph. Emma.
Who
Emma
died?
Midgley.
Is that one straight?
Midgley.
Yeah.
Midgley.
Sarah Ann
I wrote
Midley.
it in the book.
Edward Medley. Yeah.
I heard for 25 years.
George
my sister
Smith.
working, and did the 4 generations, and we went over there, and then we went and just verified those 4 generations.
Oh, wonderful.
That
One
was real.
Those old mine sitting there. Oh, wonderful.
Number 5, number 11, and number 22 are all from Kirkstall. So we solved some problems for us. And here's the 3rd one. You can read that one pretty good.
William Raystrick.
Is it backwards too?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Hard to tell with the print.
I tried to put all the pictures.
Now this particular church here is called the Headingley Hill Chapel. I'm not 100% sure that this is true, that this is the right building, but it sure looks like a church. However, it was turned into a business office.
Ah!
This is not a Church of England church. This was a non-conformist church. But this is where Mary Ann Raystrick was born to George Cumberland Wilson Sr.
Was married.
Married. I should say married. Now we found out from looking at our records that we had some people buried in fact all 4 of my grandparents were buried in the Burngreave Cemetery in Sheffield. So one Sunday we went out there and just got off the bus and started walking around, and lo and behold we found one of the gravestones. First of all, let me show you, this is not the gravestone, this is just Sheffield. Give you an idea what Sheffield looks like. Now what we're doing actually here, we're looking back now towards where the other one was that we were looking this way. But see how nice place it is for a cemetery. The people there have a nice view.
It's important that, huh?
Keep an eye out
What's
on
left,
that.
you know?
Stay ready.
So is that just like the only hill in the whole area?
As we wandered around, this is the gravestone that we found. Can you read that?
Mary Wilson.
Who died June
This was in 89.
1894.
Oh, Mark's
Are they buried on top of each other, or how do they do that?
Yeah, they do that.
Because I mean, they're all right there. Are they all those people are right there?
Some of them, they have information on the gravestone and they're buried somewhere else, but most of it, they do it on top of each other.
He said they interred at Stockton, and
After we found that, which we thought was a real prize to be able to get a picture like that,
Oh, yeah, also.
we knew that this is my great-grandparents here on this one. We knew that my grandparents on my mother's side of the family, Ellis, were also in that cemetery, so we started looking around for them, and we couldn't find them. Well, this was a Sunday, so the office was closed. So one day during the week I came back, and I went to the office and I asked if they had the record of it, and sure enough they did. It said plot number so-and-so, grave number so-and-so. So I went off looking for it. There was a fellow there mowing the grass, And he took me and he showed it to me. And you can see why we didn't find it. That's it right there. All there is just the initials.
It's right by the other one.
And you know where it was?
Oh,
Right next to it.
That's not funny.
It was right next to it.
Right next to it.
Okay, now who is the little short one?
The little one is my grandparents on my mother's side.
Mary
Ellis.
and Ellis.
Oh, very.
And
J.E. and
Joseph Ellis?
And J.E.
J is
Look at
James
those
Ellis.
great big
I
headstones.
said Harold.
Those Gothic looking.
Can you go back one to the, just a little smaller again?
I said to Harold, somebody should go over there and make them a big headstone. And then I thought, well, who would be in that? We're the only ones. We're the ones. We should all go over and make them a big headstone.
I should wonder why they did that.
Wasn't it anybody?
What's FME on the top, Dad?
Pardon?
What is FME on the top?
S-M-E.
F.
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 The very top where the little thing goes right there, and then there's J.E. and then there's M.A.E.
Mary Ann Ellis. M.A.E.
Above that,
But at the very top it's
Mary Ann Ellis,
FME and
and
then
there's George.
JE and then MAE.
Joseph
Francis.
Francis. Is that
Oh.
a child or
I
is
didn't
that
see that. Yeah, that was one of Lisa's sisters.
Oh, okay.
But I felt pretty foolish when I saw that thing right next to it. But you couldn't tell, because all it was is initials.
What does it say to the left? On the left?
It's,
Pardon?
It has like little squigglies on the left.
Yeah, that's it. That's the other one. That's the big one. See?
That's funny.
She,
That's the
she
one
had
with
a
all the
condition where
Right.
Wilsons on it, the other one's Ellis's.
The bones turned to calcium and she was right on the shop floor.
Oh,
Francis married
Oh, okay.
Lisa's sister died.
When I was born, did not have any grandparents. They all died before I was born. Now, this is the church in Leeds where, let's see, where are we at here now? Joseph Raystrick and Emma Midgley, 10 and 11 on your chart.
Is that Midgley or Migley?
M-I-D-G-L-E-Y.
That's the story.
That's the story. I've heard both.
The man up there that helped me, he called it Midley all the time, Midley. Everything's
Midley.
new. He called Midley and I said Midley, and he said Midley, and go on. So,
Now this is called the Oxford Place Chapel in Leeds. Just on the other side of this building is the City Hall of Leeds, so it's right downtown.
mission down in Leeds?
I went around to the front of the building. The front of the building had been remodeled, and they were remodeling it, and this is what they're doing to it. Now just
better than front.
straight ahead is the front of the church. To the right, which you can't quite see, is the City Hall.
The tall one, sticks up?
Pardon?
The tall one, or is that the bell tower for the church?
It looks like it's part of the church.
Yeah, it looks like it. Wow, they get fancy in
Isn't
there.
this the one,
French.
Harold, where I rode over there to get the marriage of the Edward Midley and Anne Emma Raystrick. And he sent it, and then when we were there, we wanted to see if there's something. And he says, I know it is. And he just took a finger at that and got it and showed it to us.
Huh.
Same guy that,
And I corresponded with him quite a bit. And it tickled him to
meet you.
find that. I still remember the correspondence.
I had an interesting experience. I went inside this building just to see what it looked like inside, and met one of the ministers there. This, incidentally, was another nonconformist church. It's not a Church of England. And I had quite a little chat with the man when I told him my great-grandfather was married there. Now, number 20 and 21 on your chart. Oh no, you don't have it on that chart. You're going to have to go to the big chart. Your little chart, your 4 generations, only has 15 people on it. The big chart has number 20 and 21. They were married in the town of Bradford. Now, I don't know whether this is where they were married or not, but this is the Bradford Cathedral.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
The cathedral in England is where the bishop lives, where the bishop is in charge, I should say, not lives, in charge. They have not reverends, they have vicars and, what's the other ones, Mom? I don't know, vicars and something, rectors, yeah. But the bishop, wherever a church he's in is a cathedral. So this may or may not be the actual building where they were married.
20 and 21. 20 is William Raystrick, and 21 is Mary Davison.
Uh-huh.
So that's who got married there.
Now this one here, there's quite a few of our people who come from this one here. This is the parish church at Calverley.
3 miles from Bradford, I think.
Just a short bus ride up to Calvary.
Calvary.
Calver.
Now this is the church at Otley. This was a very, very interesting town. We had a great time here. We went in and the minister, the rector, we told him what we wanted. He was going to show us to us, and we were walking around through the building. And it was obvious that the building was old. So I said, how old is this building, this church? He says, well, the modern part was finished in 1200.
Oh, goodness. Which part was that?
Or the roof.
To show you on that side.
And he took us inside, and there's the actual parish register. That's not a copy of anything. That's the actual parish register. And you see the little black thing there?
Yep.
That's pointing to the birth record of my second great grandfather.
Second mark.
Wow.
First mark. It's the first mark.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, the first
It
batch.
says the son of Mark, so yeah, then Mark. The parents of Mark and Mark.
Then it shows he died.
Are we back farther than second Mark now?
Oh yeah.
Are we? Okay.
This is the inside of that
Oh, my.
church.
Oh, how beautiful.
And then he took us back in the corner of the church. He said, let me show you something interesting. When we went back into the corner of that church, it was 5 times darker than it is in this room right now.
There's no light.
There was no light whatsoever. You couldn't see a thing. You couldn't hardly see the stones. And I just leaned my shoulder against the wall to hold me steady, opened it as wide as I could, and took this picture.
No
Now
flash?
those are those stones used to be crosses. They were out in the yard before the church was built, where the people used to come around the crosses and worship. One had a date on it of 800, and the other 900.
I understood they're out in the fields. It's probably woods at the time.
It's a little worship spot.
And then the poor man, before he would show us our own record, he said, I gotta show you this one. There's a marriage performed by John Wesley,
Oh, my goodness. Sure enough.
performed in his church,
Oh,
founder of the Methodist Church.
This is the Methodist Church?
Now this is in the Church of England church,
Church of England.
but there was a period of time in English history where it was illegal to marry anywhere except in a Church of England chapel.
Let other non-Church of England people come in and marry there. So
see, you got the records that way, otherwise you would have records.
Now this is Otley,
yeah,
quaint
yeah.
little town.
You have a picture of that in your books. It's way out from anywhere. It's just Otley right down here from the level, so.
Oh my. I need to just
Moss Brothers.
no looking either way this way.
Double yellow lines on both sides.
Don't cross the line.
No kidding.
Try that, did I?
Wide road.
Did they have,
that's the
yeah,
bicycle lane.
no
Where are
big
you
buses,
gonna go?
trucks or anything don't do
But
that.
I thought that was an interesting little town.
Oh, yeah.
Or those aren't garages, those blue doors, are they? Probably not.
Those were shops along the side there when I'm looking in the window. Now, this one's interesting. We were up in the area north Riding, and we knew that we had some people by the name of Lumley up in that area. We heard that there was a Lumley Castle. So we went up into Durham to a place called Chester Lestrade. S-T-R-E-E-T, Lestrade. And they asked where Lumley Castle was. They were very happy to tell us. So we got the bus and we went to Lumley Castle, and this is it.
We asked at the bus stop, this kind of tall young man with reddish hair, and I says, could you tell us where, the people all over getting off and on, he says, could you tell us where the Lumley Castle is? And, oh, he just minded all and says, Lumley Castle, the Lumley Castle. He said, oh, here you go down. Just like it was a wonderful place. It's so cute. It was Scottish or some people.
Now, we have a lot of Lumleys. If you look on that chart there, you know that we have a lot of Lumleys. It won't be in yours, Gay, you're
Yeah,
past
we're the
that.
big one, okay.
But we don't think that any of them were related to the people who lived in Lumley Castle. However, it was a rule of thumb back in the days in England there, in the old days, that when a man died, everything, the castle, everything went to the oldest son. And if there are any younger sons, they got nothing. So a lot of people come from these second and third sons that were not under the peerage.
Wouldn't be attached to.
Now speak on this. The line died out and the in-laws took it to court and got it.
Now this is the back side of the Lumley Castle.
Oh.
Incidentally, they have turned it into a high-class hotel. Modernized it and made it a hotel.
That would be
He's
lovely.
really married.
This is the courtyard. Look at those little steps that I'm standing by. See them?
Uh-huh.
That's for getting on and off your horse.
Yeah.
I need to tell her when you.
Pretty good size horse.
Pretty nice view out of the center, actually.
Yeah,
Now, this is Bedale.
Who?
Bedale. Town of Bedale. We have quite a number of people born and then married and whatnot in the area around Bedale.
That's the Wilson one.
There's the church. And we went inside there and we stood right there by the font where about 2 or 3 generations of our people were baptized.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
And while we're in there, we talked to a lady who's kind of watching out for things. And we told her who we were and that our relatives had been born there, and said that my great-great, how many greats I don't know, but grandfather, Josiah Spritch, was a blacksmith. She says, well, we have 2 blacksmith shops here, and I don't remember about the second one, but she told us the other one, first one, was just practically across the street and down a block or so. So we went over to the blacksmith shop. There it is. The house to the left and the blacksmith shop is the low building. Now look in the corner, the front corner. See something round there on the ground?
That's like a dish.
See it?
Yeah.
That was used when they made wheels. They put those iron bands around the wheel like a tire.
Huh.
And in order to get the hot metal to go round, they took the hot metal and bent it around that round thing to make the round wheel.
And that belonged to George, which was Josiah's son. And he was a blacksmith. And they're just getting ready to tear that down.
So you sure that was the right one? Out of the
No, it
2?
was one of the 2 of them. We didn't see the other one.
Well, he said this
We had a
was
50% chance.
I thought it was George's.
I got a chance to peek inside to see what it looked like because the place was all locked up. but some of the old tools and whatnot, it was quite interesting. This is looking from the other end of that same building.
Oh, wow.
See the low part down on the end there?
Mm-hmm.
That was the ship blacksmith shop.
That's-
This inside.
I thought so.
Now, this one here,
What's with the black?
Soot. Oh, smog or whatever.
Okay.
It's very cold, but they just keep up a lot of places now.
lost.
Well, the scaffolding, they're doing it over here already, working on that part.
Sandblasted.
All right, this is Wath on Dern.
Oh, wow.
You heard that name used quite a bit.
Yes.
Number 6, number 12, number 13, and number 26 are all from Wath on Dern.
Ellis's.
Married there or whatever. My maternal grandparents, Joseph Ellis, was christened there.
This is the church?
This is the church, next to Wath
Is
on
this the
Dern.
back door or something?
Well, that's the front. That's the main
It's
entrance.
different architectural styles, and the guy was going on a vacation, he didn't have time to bother with this.
Oh, well, just,
We don't know if he's getting home.
Oh, he did take us in, he says, this is, you can smell the smoldering bodies in the,
Oh,
inside
thank
the
you.
church, they bury him in
Oh.
Have him over there in the corner?
Yeah, they bury the people right in the ground, right in the floor of the church.
Smoldering bodies.
And the richer they are, the closer to the main body of the church
It's like a
they are.
vibrating couch.
The richer
There's
they are, the
inside-
closer they are to
There's
what?
inside. Now what she's standing on, if you look real carefully, there are inscriptions. And another thing they do in those churches is when a thing falls down, instead of throwing it away, they put it in the sidewalk. So sometimes it takes you quite a length of time to walk a little distance along that sidewalk. You gotta read all his gravestones.
Oh.
So beautiful.
Are they in the floor or in the wall?
Everywhere.
They're on the floor. Right up there on the high part there, all of them. So Wath on Dern is interesting.
You are, mother. You have a better vantage point.
Now this particular plaque, I don't know if you can read it or not, it's made to an Ellis. And the lord or whatever it was of that particular area had just been in there just very recently and told him to clean that thing.
How handy.
And all that we thought, oh great, we found something here where it's really important man. And the last thing it says on there, he died without issue.
Huh.
Bummer.
But he donated a lot of stuff to the church or something, so they made that plaque.
Why do they have the skeleton looking thing at the bottom?
With
But he was
something
married
coming out of his
twice.
mouth.
He was twice
That's a
married.
self-portrait.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
That's what it says.
Self-portrait at the bottom?
Doesn't it say he was twice married
What do you know?
We're at.
He
Does it
died
say-
without issue.
and died without issue?
That means no children.
I thought it was a back-
That
That's
ended,
right.
that ended that way.
What does that say, age 85?
You say 1912
No.
or 1712?
It's right in the church on the wall.
It's
Twice
17,
or
12.
twice?
1712.
April
Wow.
12, 1712.
Read that one line, Brad, does it say he was?
He was,
So the,
Right.
back in that day where the Lumley Castle
Why
was,
does it say
are those like the
Thrice.
people that, like the great landlords,
No,
the
it's
grand
twice. That's not
landowners, and
W,
they had
it's
all
twice.
the little
Okay,
people working
twice.
for
yeah,
them?
the
Is that,
W's are like
is that, I mean, how do you decide on whether you get a castle or not? You just afford it, or is this just kind of like, that's the way they
What
do
does it
things?
say?
Well, they were
His
kind
wife
of
was?
awarded,
Or why
like
was
the, for example,
Yeah.
the Duke
Oh,
of something or other was in
Yeah.
charge of
Something
that.
says,
The top and
Yeah.
the bottom of it.
Yes.
maybe you guys
I
can
can
do
forget
it, send in.
what Duke he was, but it's inherited.
Oh,
he rented
okay.
the,
I think in order to be a
monument because he
a
donated.
sir or somebody, or other, you have to own land, you have to be a landlord.
More than a sir.
Yeah.
A sir was, a lot of people are sirs. Just because they do something, they
Or
make
lord, maybe it's a lord then.
it's lord.
Lord Baden-Powell, he had to have some land, and so they gave him Gilwell Park, and so then they made him a lord so-and-so. There you go.
Now, in this particular one, my maternal grandfather, Joseph Ellis, was christened there at Wath-on-Dern. My maternal great-great-grandfather, James Ellis, was born there. No, take that one back. Maternal great-grand, Sarah Bauer, was born at Wath-on-Dern, and she and her husband were married there, so quite a bit happened in this particular chapel here.
We have some real good stories on this too that happened because but I don't know if you want it now. Where we lived over in the pits, we didn't have any money, but we had a professional genealogist, Bill Edger, living in London. She worked for us, and she said, we said, could we have someone go there? She could go to Wath-on-Dern and get all the Ellis's out in Bowers, and she wrote back and said the cost was $130, and so we didn't do it. So later our cow wouldn't have any more babies and didn't give any more milk, so we had it sent down to the place down the hill where Daddy would take his cows like that, and Daddy had just taken a cow like that, and he got $30 or something for it, and so I said, well, hell, let's take the cow, and let's use that for the Wath-on-Dern project, and have her go do that, and since, well, it would be enough, I think. And when we got the money, it was $130.
Oh my goodness.
I said, can you do that? He said, I don't dare not.
Not a doll house.
And then the Bauer line and the Ellis, we were doing, I worked and got this, and I'd written over there before we got to go, get all that. And I had the family, and I was always afraid I'd miss a child and all this. And so we were going through the temple for them. It took a long time after we sent to Salt Lake, they finally sent it to the temple. And we were going through, and I'd gone through for the mother. And then, who was it was standing there? Can you tell? Carol was looking through
Marie was.
his stamps, and she came here. He had a box of stamps. He went to Aldrey High School, and he was looking at them. The kids were all standing around. And Bruce says, "Oh, look at that!" And he picked it up, and he'd never seen it before. And he said, "Maybe you'd be interested in that, Mother." And he gave it to me, and it was a beautiful little death memorial for Ann Ellis.
So this little white silhouetted on black.
And the little mother there, the little child picking flowers. Anyway, it was, you have it in your stuff and the pictures, but, so I sent that over to England to see if we could get the death record, and it was another child. Ann Ellis, she was 15 when she died. And these are miracles.
What?
Like that, you know.
Isn't this the Bowers, the people that, you know, that don't remember the church, but we knew about and were relatives, and they were still living at a certain time over there, that used to correspond with them? Is that the same one? Is that the name you told me one time? They had the 4 brothers, or?
That was Mark had his 4 children, and Hannah was one, and she married Bowers. And the James Ellis married Sarah Bauer, and that's Sarah Bauer and James Ellis's child. Or 5 children. But the Wilson line, back at Mark and Mary, they had 4 children, and they had Elizabeth and Hannah, and George Cumberland and Mark Myers Cumberland. And Elizabeth didn't marry, and Hannah married Bowers, William Bowers. So it's a different Bowers. And then Sarah Bauer is on the Ellis line.
Oh boy.
We were in Rotherham one
Oh,
time,
wow.
just on business, looking at different things, and coming through to change buses. The crowd, the place was packed. The place was packed.
Look at
We
this.
found out the
picture.
Queen was in town. So let's wait to see the Queen, and there she is.
Oh, you're
Now,
right there.
what were you, standing in the middle of the
Wave
street?
right at the
How did you get
curbside.
that?
Across the street.
There's not one person in front of you, Harold. You could
Right
have
at
been
the
closer.
curbside.
He just stepped over, all that's, and it was a clear.
She
A
waved
long time, I come a long ways to take this
Oh,
shot.
George!
It was a miracle he got that because.
Oh, that's
Right.
good. Oh, that is a
Imagine like
choice.
I didn't know you had that.
The little white glove waving.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Rose
Queen. Good.
Oil.
Queen Elizabeth.
Queen Elizabeth.
Got one of Lisa used to love the Queen.
But we didn't even know she was there.
That's
Just happened to
right.
be changing buses.
Durham, you
I
say?
know you got
And this
that
is in
picture.
Rotherham,
We waited, there
Rotherham.
were people all in front of us. and
which is the
everything.
next
All
town
around.
to Sheffield.
Came out and he stepped
Oh.
out and got it just for everybody to see. I didn't know he got that.
You couldn't do better if you were working for the press.
Now this
here.
church here is at Kirkby South. If you look on your chart there, again, you won't find it on yours, Gay, but on the big one, you'll find Ellis's, and all of the Ellis's are on there, I think, are from Kirkby South.
Look at this little old building on the left. That one's seen better days.
Burned down or blown down.
That's an old-fashioned building that's still standing there.
Joseph Ellis, number 24, and Mary Gill, number 25. Then Thomas Gill, also. And there's more, but, you know, James Ellis also.
So there's lots and lots of Ellis's and whatnot came from this place here in South Kirkby.
Let me tell you that the film over there, I argued it, and finally we just paid, there's so much there, we paid and let him have it. It's over there now. And he was going off out of town somehow, didn't trip tonight, and I spent 15 hours just day after day for a few days. And I got, all these Ellis's way back, beautiful record, and he came and I gave it to him. And it was about then when I couldn't do any more work on his. Something came in front of my reader, like a smoky glass. I couldn't do any more on his lines, so I had to go to my lines. So I don't know if that works, but does anything. He has it somewhere. And the record is over there, the film. At South Kirkby.
Oh. Beautiful buildings.
Now let's see, this one is, what is this one, Mother? I don't recognize it.
What a babe. How old are you in these pictures? My goodness.
This is your pre-married,
He
pre-children
couldn't leave
days.
it alone very long over there, looks like.
She's always better with that
First
people in
trip,
it.
75, I already aged by 89. The little old boys would feed me terrible.
Let's see what
The
number
best
it is.
stop at that place. I had a funny old hat and a big coat, and we got up on top of the bus thing, yelling things. I collapsed. Anyway, because
No, I didn't either.
that's such a terrible.
Oh, that's bad for you.
Mother's not a world traveler.
I can't
Let me go
distinguish
back
that.
up, got some soil. Oh, America.
Oh, this one here is one of the first ones we went to on the first trip that we made. This is the Doncaster Cathedral. We went in there to see the records in there, and this is it. This is the actual document. And we wondered what in the world happened to that thing, but they had a fire in the thing. But instead of burning up like you'd normally expect it, this is not made on paper, it's made on parchment. And it shrunk.
Oh.
But if you look real carefully, you can see Mary Fish on there and a tailor up above.
Taylor, you shook hands.
George Taylor.
So that's my, that's number 15, Mary. I mean, Gay. Number 15 on your
Mary
chart.
Fish and George
This time.
Taylor.
And then, when they were saved some of the records, went over, they had to cross the street and go over in a building, had to have these, they were fixing them so that they were redoing them.
Oh.
And ours was one of them.
Oh,
Has the church been in here and done this yet? Microfilmed all this?
Probably,
Haven't they got most of Yorkshire? I think that's.
Doncaster.
yeah, about 87% or 95, something.
Which parish is this?
This was in the Doncaster Cathedral.
That's near Sheffield,
Oh my.
not too far from
Thank you.
Sheffield. Rotherham,
Oh, Mary saw it.
Now there's an interesting story about Mary Fish. We had a document of some sort, I can't remember what it was now, but it stated that Mary Fish was born in a place called Haman. And it wasn't a matter of reading it wrong or misconstruing it and whatnot, it was just as plain as it could be, H-A-M-E-N, Haman.
Oh my goodness.
And one day up in Salt Lake, I was looking at, we couldn't find it. Couldn't even find anything about the town.
years and years.
And so one day up in Salt Lake, I was nosing around there, and I saw a place called Airman. Oh, thank you. And so I went to
This is fine.
Airman Records, or found out from it that Airman was a chapelry.
These right here. Oh, your cabinets are back?
Airman is an AIR.
A.R.
Michael, there, hi.
This Airman, and I couldn't find anything on it, so I went to the Gazetteer and found that Airman was a chapelry in the parish of Snaith. So I went to the Snaith Records, and sure enough, there it was. Mary Fish, daughter of Elizabeth Fish, who was the daughter of Aaron Fish, and so on and so on. So there's 3 generations.
So what's that? You ever did find the town, Hammond, or where was it?
There wasn't any such place.
Rolled up what somebody wrote
In other words, they wrote it down the way they heard it.
and threw
And
it.
that's what you got to watch out for in
Armin
English,
to the
because
name.
most of those people could neither read nor write.
Oh my.
So they go to the chapel and they all the different dialects and whatnot.
They must have
Tell the
been,
guy, and he says, "Oh, we wrote it down that way."
Arrow.
they must have been the ancestors
With
of the
the
guy
E.
at Ellis Island.
Right.
Yeah. Can't spell it, give him a new name.
Now this chapel here is the Chapel of Ecclesfield. It's only a city bus ride from Sheffield. But boy, I'll tell you that we have a marriage there of a George Taylor's father, Joseph, married a Margaret Stones. And we can take those Stones back several generations, all in this Ecclesfield parish. And the day I went there, look at the grass. The lawn said, "Oh, what am I going to do?" And trying to find any gravestones in here.
You wonder why they have tall
And this is about that time. Here come a young assistant minister, I guess he was, with a lawnmower, and he cut all that grass down
when you were waiting.
while I was there.
Oh, that's great.
But then it was even worse because all the loose grass covered the gravestones. I couldn't even find the gravestones.
Oh, there'd be holes and something break over
Oh my goodness.
legs.
Did you find any headstones?
No.
Just
I found out one thing about headstones. After you get back to about 1750, forget it, because you can't read them. They're too weathered and beaten up and whatnot.
But they have a record inside of those.
They probably would have records inside, yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, that is just about it so far as those things are concerned. But I got a few pictures here just to show you of some things that I found interesting in England. When I was over there the first time, when I was just a kid out of high school, the fellow we stayed with took me to a football match at a place called Chesterfield. And they have a very fancy church there.
Oh.
Look at the spire.
Look at that.
My.
Wow.
Cricket.
Yeah. And no matter what direction you look at that thing, no matter which angle you look at, it's crooked. So it's famous as the Crooked Spire of Chesterfield.
Black and white.
They say that the man who built it, what happened when he built it, and something happened, it shifted.
Oh.
And the man who built it went crazy trying to reproduce
Oh
it.
man.
You couldn't do it. This is the next railway stop when you're going north to before you get to Sheffield.
Goes through, we can see it.
I took that right out of the train, so it's right there by the train.
Wow.
Woo, look at that mama.
Mother's new pet.
Remember I told you about the church that was just next to the city hall? If you were to go on the other side of those lions, you'd see that church.
Oh.
Now I put this in here, this is a very important picture I want you to know about. You all know how much your mother likes to have her picture taken. This is the only time in 55 years that she ever asked her to have her picture taken. She wanted her picture taken with that lion.
That lion.
Oh,
Great.
isn't he magnificent?
Wonderful.
He is so stately.
Look at how big.
Richard the lion heart.
This is the plaza in front of the library where all the records are in Leeds. And boy, they have a lot of records in Leeds. And if you want to play chess, there's the way to play chess.
Whoa, boy.
Fast.
Right out on the sidewalk.
Boy, they're trying to-
That's a huge.
Now this is a picture of some locks on the canals. Now I put this in for a very special purpose. When you're doing when you're doing English research, sometimes your people will move great distances because they have this canal system all over England, and you can travel from place to place. They didn't have automobiles, they didn't have airplanes, but they had the canal system. This is the York Minster.
Oh, I've been there.
You've been there.
Done it.
You have the t-shirt.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
Beautiful. What's it called again?
York Minster.
That's the main one in
Like the
Yorkshire?
Westminster Abbey,
It's
but it's in
no, this is
York.
in the city of York.
Oh, City of York.
This is a cathedral, and you see the square towers on the top? The two square towers on the top
Right.
were not in the original building. They were added later.
No, you can see
And
it.
when they did so, the building started to sink.
Oh, fine.
So they dug out and excavated underneath the building to shore it up. And they found some well, this is inside the
Oh,
cathedral.
beautiful.
Oh, how gorgeous.
And inside they found this like here. This is a painting on the wall, a Roman painting.
They have that Roman wall going all through York, don't they?
Uh-huh.
So it's really into Roman, whatever. Isn't that cool?
And this said this was the foundation of the Roman barracks.
Oh,
It takes.
and Roman roads all over York.
This is the city of York. The York Minster down at the end of the street. See it? The only trouble with this city here, they've commercialized it so terribly much. Tourists come pouring in there. And look at that street.
Ooh.
Looks like those things are falling off, doesn't
The
it?
house is
Big enough for strollers, and that's about it.
The house will just fall over any day almost.
Now this is in London, inside the British Museum. Have you ever heard of the Rosetta Stone?
no.
That particular stone is transcribed the same message in 3 different languages, ancient languages. And because of this stone, they were able to translate. They knew a little of this and a little of that, and so they were able to make it out. But this is an important stone to translate old records. It's in the British Museum.
It was found in England? Yeah, that's where it was. They didn't transport it from somewhere else, right?
I don't know where they found it. Now this just shows you the old and the new across the street from each other.
Oh, wow. The old city.
This is number 10 Downing Street, where the Prime Minister lives.
Well, they look pretty cash.
Casual.
Bobby's.
Yeah,
And this statue here, this is the last picture, and I brought this because it's standing in a little parkway there, as you can see, just practically walking distance from the Houses of Parliament.
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
It is Abraham. I just threw that out because it looked kind of like him, for pity's sake. Sorry, Dad, I didn't ruin your thunder there. I thought I was being smart. I was.